bit off more than you could bargain for fun. One stormy Saturday night, I was out with my girlfriends, and we were sitting in my car, bored and looking for something to do. It was 3 of us, and we just wanted to have a good time with some mistakes we would probably regret later. We were only freshmen in college, so we were pretty immature, still, to say the least. On that night, we were so desperate to get wasted and find a fun party, so we started contacting everyone and anyone we knew or had communication with to find whatever fun we could find. My friend Jody had an idea and said we should try Craigslist. Sometimes people post stuff on there and most likely would require a small fee to get in, so we did just that. And as 15 minutes of scrolling go by, our other friend Kimberly finds a function to head to. The entrance fee for this house party at a local frat house was only $20. We could all easily manage that, so we yelled and started up the car and started heading there. 30 minutes of driving go by, and Jody said, "Are we there yet?" I looked at my GPS and realized there was still 1 more hour. I hadn't noticed it was this far before, otherwise I wouldn't have gone, but we had already gotten 30 minutes closer, so I said whatever and kept going. As we were 20 minutes out from the house, we realized we were practically in the middle of nowhere. Kimberly started voicing her concerns that maybe we should turn back because it was creepy and nothing was out here, but I told her to shut up unless she had enough gas money to get us back. She just sat there quiet. That's what I thought as I continued driving closer. It's around 11 p.m. by this point as we get there. We park right outside of this old manor-looking house. The lights were on inside, but looked very dim and old. Everything looked old and run down. Even the 5 cars parked outside of it were old. "This doesn't seem like a very lit party," Jody exclaimed. I was kinda annoyed because she was right, but we had already wasted gas and time to get here, so I said, "Well, I guess we are here now, and we might as well check it out." We all got out of the car and started walking up the stairs to the front door. We rang the doorbell and waited there for a good 2 minutes when someone opened the door. As soon as the door opened, we were hit with a foul stench of something rotting. A really tall, fat guy in a wife beater opened the door. It was stained and this guy looked like he was in his 40s. Kimberly nervously asked, "Is this where the party is at?" The guy looked back and laughed, and I heard the other guys in the background laughing. He looked back at us and said, "Yeah, come on in. You guys are about 15 minutes early. Most usually show up closer to 11:30. Kimberly instantly perked up and said, "Oh, that explains it," and was the first to go in. Jody just shrugged and went in right after, so I guess I followed because it was creepier outside in the dark. The guy closed the door behind us and locked it. I asked, "Why did you lock it?" The guys all laughed and said we were in the middle of nowhere. You don't want a skinwalker getting in, right? I nervously laughed. After sitting there for 5 minutes, a guy came out of the kitchen with shots for all of us. No point sitting around and waiting. Time to pregame before the rest come. Kim and Jody both took a shot before I even had a chance to talk to them about how this might not be the smartest idea. Me being stupid, I followed along. It tasted weird, like normal alcohol, but something sour within it that didn't taste normal. I asked them what it was, and they just looked at each other and laughed. Then they said words that made my stomach sink to the pit of my soul. "The less you know, the better," one guy said. Before I could even react, my vision started getting blurry and I started feeling really dizzy. Too dizzy for just one shot. I looked to my left to see Kim and Jody passing out. I said, "Wait, what's in the..." Then everything went black. I woke up later in a hospital with my family next to me crying. "What happened?" I said. My mom hugged me and said, "What were you doing out there with those men?" "Don't you know who they are?" I said no, until she reminded me. "Remember that news segment me and your dad were talking about at dinner? How the police had been investigating a group of potential cannibals that were rumored to be out in the middle of nowhere?" My heart sank. No way. I took off the sheets on me and saw one of my feet were missing. I screamed so loud and started crying and saying, "No, no, no, I'm an idiot." And then I asked her, "Where's Kim and Jody?" My mom started crying louder and said, by the time the police were notified, it was too late for Kimberly. But only because Jody's mom got worried, since it was 12:30 and you guys hadn't checked in at all. That they called the cops and had them searching for you. Thank God for Jody's mom. She had a tracker on her phone without her knowing. Otherwise, we wouldn't have found you in time. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, no, 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 no. I started screaming. And then I said, "And what happened with Jody?" My mom couldn't utter words anymore as she was crying too intensely now. My dad said, "She's alive, but what?" I yelled. He looked to the left, rubbed the back of his neck, and said, "Half her face is missing." This was the worst Halloween of my life. Everything has a price tag. It was a Thursday night, and I was sitting in my room, bored, scrolling through mindless gossip and drama. Then I started thinking of all the new things I needed for my apartment, such as a coffee maker, dresser, and curtains. The only problem was, my budget was very limited. I thought about buying the stuff and paying it off with small payments, but I had heard this wasn't always the smartest idea, especially if you have multiple things piling up like I already did. A light bulb shined over my head as I thought, Craigslist. I went on and signed up with a generic account I made really fast. I was scrolling through for about half an hour, not really finding anything good but a few options. I was almost about to give up when my finger froze in its scrolling place. Chills ran up my spine, deep into the bone, and my heart started racing. Did I just read that right? I nervously scrolled back a little as I had passed it slightly with how fast I was going. I really wanted it to just be a sick and twisted figment of my demented imagination, but unfortunately, it was not. I had read exactly what I saw. Children for sale. No way. What in the hell? Who would? The curiosity got the better of me, and I clicked into it, expanding the details. 2 boys and 1 girl, and it showed their pictures. They looked starved and dirty, like they hadn't bathed in months. I almost threw up. I immediately threw my phone at the wall and started crying. There are people out there like this? The devil truly does live among us. You have to be a new type of demonic to casually post something like this. Let's just say I deleted the app after calling the police on the ad and giving them the details. I'll never use that app again. Bike thief. It was a late night, and I had arranged to meet up with someone from Craigslist to buy a cheap BMX bike I had my eye on for days. We met up outside of his apartment complex. All went well, and he even helped me put the bike in the back for me. I gave him the money, and that was that. I had fun riding it for about a week, when one day, a man in his car approached me at my neighborhood and asked me where I got that bike. I told him I bought it from Craigslist, and he looked concerned and said, "Can you follow me back to my house? I want to check something on it because my son had a bike just like that and it recently got stolen." I said okay, and followed him back to his house, where he examined the bike closely and said, "Yup, that's his bike." "Where did you say you met up with this guy to buy the bike?" I told him the address and tried to find the ad, but it wasn't there anymore. He said, "I'm gonna have to take this from you. I'm a cop. I said, well, okay, but then can I have the money I spent for it then? He said, no, this was stolen property, and I could turn you in also if you want. He had a gun in his waistband, and me being young and naive to these kinds of things, I gave it to him. A decade passed by now, as I'm writing this, and to this day, I still don't know if that bike was even stolen, or if that was even a real cop. I sorta just believed him. Had I just casually gotten robbed?